Imagine a typical 9-year-old boy loves his sports, especially baseball. Now imagine that little athlete having trouble running, jumping, and breathing. Then a series of doctor's visits, tests, more tests. Finally, imagine 9-year-old Joe Wise hearing this.
That it was highly likely that I wouldn't live to see my 15th birthday.
It was an unspecified mitochondrial disease, and he said this could be devastating, and given that your son's heart's involved, he might not make it till he is 15 years old.
The mitochondria are the parts of our cells that make our cells go. They're a little bit like the car engine makes the car go. Our mitochondria make the cells go. So if you have mitochondria that aren't functioning normally, you cannot produce energy normally. You become weak.
I really didn't know what was going on. I just know we were doing a lot of tests, and I kind of was forced to learn at an early age of what was going on and how my body worked. But it was still pretty scary to hear in the news.
At that point, I think I was in kind of a state of shock. This isn't what the script is supposed to be.
Such was the end of the typical 9-year-old boy. There would be no more bats or helmets. The new normal, a wheelchair and a ventilator.
So I had to spend an hour or two on a volume ventilator a day, and then plus all night when I sleep. So what it does is it pumps out CO2 out of my lungs because my diaphragm muscles are too weak to do that.
The volume ventilator, as much as it's considered life support, it also was life-changing for him because it kind of brought him back around, giving him much more energy.
Energy is great, but Joe's options for expending it were limited.
Basically, as you can swim, and Joe hated to swim.
Hated it. Worst sport ever. Bored every single time.
So I just, like, well, make it work for you. And so he started swimming, and then we found out about the Paralympics. And so we took him to the trials in 2004, and the head of U.S. Paralympic Swimming let him swim a race. Joe was 11 years old.
I decided that I was just going to swim, and then I fell in love with the sport. I felt that I could be competitive in the sport. I felt that I could swim against these kids with other disabilities. And so that's really what made me love swimming, was through the Paralympics.
As Joe dove into his new sport, a funny thing happened. His physical deterioration actually slowed. He got better.
If you can exercise, that could improve your symptoms. It's almost like a positive feedback loop.
I'm not a doctor, but what I've been told is that Joe's commitment to swimming is probably what kept him alive.
It kept him alive, it kept him social, he had something to look forward to, and it also made him feel better.
When Joe's 15th birthday came and went, it wasn't the milestone you might have expected because, well, he was busy training for the Paralympic Games in Beijing. Yeah, the kid who wasn't even supposed to be alive was about to represent his country as a world-class athlete.
Walking out in lane 5 in Beijing, where Michael Phelps just won his 8th gold medal, crowned the greatest Olympian of all time, and then you're walking out to that pool, swimming in that exact same lane. It's really, I don't know, I'm still kind of speechless.
He saw the American flag come in, and tears started streaming down my face and my husband's face, and I looked at him, I said, 6 years ago we declared war on this disease, and tonight we won a battle.
They won a battle, all right, but the war was far from over.
Coming out of Beijing, we thought, okay, look out, London, this is going to be great. And then in the November of 2009, he took a turn for the worst.
His breathing became more labored. He required more support. As he was going to school and trying to participate in activities, he became weaker and weaker.
There was times where I had to take leaves of school because I was so exhausted from my disease that I couldn't physically get out of bed.
And then when we medically withdrew him from school, I just thought, Joe, London doesn't matter. You went to the Olympics, you'll always be a Paralympian.
The next 2 years were filled with ups and downs, and Joe's goal of the 2012 Paralympic Games often appeared to be a long shot. But again, it seemed every time his health threatened his swimming rescued his health.
From the day he came in, it was a lot of tough love of getting him out of his feeling down and all mopey, to saying, look, you said you wanted this ride, you wanted to go to London. Well, it's not going to happen this way. And that point on, I could see the Joe again. He was ready to go. He wanted it. You could see it, and I knew everything was going to happen at that point.
When he made the London team, it was just like, oh my God, we're winning again. It was amazing. I mean, when he came up the stairs to see me, he hugged me, and I hugged him, and tears were just coming down my face, and he said to me, thank you for what you did. And I'm like, no, thank you, thank you for fighting so hard.
Joe Wise from the USA, and he's proud of that.
In London, I swam 5 races. It was a lot more fun this time around, just because it was 4 years of hard work, 4 years of battling through this disease to get to that one goal. I made it.
Joe's aquatic experience continues at Loyola University of Maryland, where he is a sophomore on the swim team. He has long-term goals that include becoming a political lobbyist for disability rights. Whatever waters he must navigate along the way, he will no doubt embrace the challenge because, as has become clear to anybody that's known him, Joe Wise was in fact never a typical boy.
When I'm facing any kind of adversity, I think of Joe Wise. And I often in my head am saying, if Joe Wise can get up every day and do this, I can do whatever challenge I'm facing.
He made a lot of kids who want to come in and say, oh, my finger hurts or whatever. As I used to say, I said, see Joe, Joe could be dead. So I don't want to hear about your sore finger today. And Joe would be like, yeah, I could be dead, so don't give me this crap.
It's amazing what he has seen. I mean, he's done things that we'll never do, we'll never understand. He's had a journey that, you can't ever take away. And he knows that if he was healthy, he would never have been on this journey.
And then there's times where I want to give up fighting and stop fighting, just because I've been fighting for so long. And constantly having to fight every single day just takes a mental and physical toll on you. But then I realized, I'm so lucky that I'm alive today. I've gotten to see more of the world than I ever would have thought of. I got to compete in 2 Olympic Games, and there's other kids who look up to me as a role model for them to never stop fighting. So if I stop fighting, they're going to stop fighting.